afternoon all. I welcome you to this masterclass. So we welcome our guest for this masterclass, and I'll just request Dr. Kuldeep Roje to give a warm welcome to our guest and speaker for today.
Thank you, Dilbag sir. I think it's an honor to introduce a learned person like Dr. Aulakh. I've been going through his profile, and there are a few thoughts which actually came to my mind. And one of that is learning never stops, and learning should never ever stop. As human beings, we have evolved with knowledge we possess and our unique skills of learning and unlearning. That's something which has always put us ahead of other species. And today's masterclass is based on a similar theme. How can we evolve further, grow to the next level, build metacognition, as well as build that self-awareness for mutual growth? And one such precise area for all this is the feedback. Well, over the years of my career, I have understood that it is challenging, it's complex, and it is difficult to give as well as to take feedback. And both giving and taking feedback is crucial as well as challenging area, both for organizations as well as for individuals. And it is also said that constructive feedback is an art that can be learned, and at the same time, it has to be learned. With this mission, I welcome all of you to today's masterclass on the art of constructive feedback, building a feedback-centric culture for performance improvement. I'm delighted to share that to demystify this art. We have a real master for today's masterclass, someone who is passionate about this topic, has implemented feedback mechanisms, and made immense contributions in the field, in the industry as well as in academia. My brief conversations each time I had with Dr. Aulakh is actually passionate about this topic, and it's really going to be a turning point a lot of us today. I welcome you, sir. Dr. Mohan Singh Aulakh is an expert in human resources and organization development. He's a director, HR and strategy of a Singapore-based IT startup, as well as he's a management consultant. His contribution in industry and academia is immense, and once you go into his profile, you understand how rich his experience and contribution is. And he has been full-time HR practitioner, a consultant, a trainer, management teacher, counselor, coach, as well as mentor. In short conversation with you, you all will realize that he's also a natural relationship builder. Having a rich experience of over 30 years in domains of HR, learning, organization development frameworks, talent management, leadership, competency modeling, capacity building, people processes, and many, many more fields, Dr. Aulakh has helped re-engineer a number of facilities, including in the erstwhile Ranbaxy Labs, to improve overall efficiencies. His professional experience also includes working with MNCs like Ranbaxy, Sun Pharma, and Galactic Design Labs. He's a man who has ever been learning and imparting knowledge. He's a certified PPA practitioner from Thomas Profiling, a certified manager with great training, which is a unique thing in itself, HRDQ coaching, mentoring, and feedback expert in balanced scorecard. Have conceptualized and organized several train-the-trainer programs and built expert systems and quality audits. Being an expert in HR field, in Kaizen quality systems, Dr. Aulakh has also been judged for Kaizen and quality circles competitions in CII at the national level. He's also been recognized, has a lot of accolades and rewarded for his contribution for improving the quality in HR systems, competency, talent maps, and further improving the human productivity. He was also business lead for implementing e-learning platforms, and this has been well rewarded for the efforts of innovative approach. It is also interesting to see that Dr. Aulakh has keen interest in academy. And he has been a regular visitor as a guest and as an expert to most of the leading institutions, including the XLRIs, the IIMAs, the UBS, the Thapas, and of course, Chitkara. He has been invited as co-chair in sessions at many conferences held in CII, PhD CCI. And Dr. Aulakh is a science graduate from Chandigarh, GCM Chandigarh, the alumni of Punjab University, UBS. And in his early schooling from Darjeeling, he has been an ardent hockey and table tennis player. So I think you haven't left anything which was to be done, may it be academia, may it be professional career, may it be the sports. And interestingly, he's also an avid trekker and deeply passionate about the nature of photography as a hobby. On behalf of Chitkara Center for Continuing Education, Chitkara University, Punjab. We extend a warm welcome and look forward to another great masterclass with you, sir. Thank you for agreeing to come in and join us today. And over to you, sir. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Roji. And it's actually a pleasure for me to be amongst you. Like you have said so much that I'm really humbled with the words that you have spoken. And it's really heartening to be amongst you people and share whatever little I can today. Though feedback is a huge topic, cannot be covered in a few minutes that I have at my that have been allotted to me today. But yes, like I promised, we will definitely have a detailed session on this, as it actually transforms us from what we are to what we want to be. Because if we do not accept feedback or do not request for feedback in our daily lives, we miss out on a lot. It's a continuous process. Like Dr. Roji has just said something a few minutes back. It's like for me, hearing it for the first time. And it sounds good. It again motivates me. Similarly, in our own lives, feedback actually brings in a lot of new thoughts. It's not to be taken as a negatively. Usually when we are being told that we want to give you some feedback, people usually withdraw internally. May not be physically, but internally you withdraw. Apprehending that you will be getting something which you don't like. But why the apprehension? Why are we so afraid about taking feedback or receiving feedback from our colleagues, from our seniors, and the like? Well, actually, this is feedback, okay? Like, we need to have feedback to progress. That is the fundamental of feedback. If you don't get feedback, we are stuck. If we are not given, like whenever you see a small child, we always say, "Beta, you have done a great job." You see the glow on his or her face, and then you'll realize the moment you said that, it actually transformed him from what he was to what he actually would like to be. It brings in a lot of positive thought, a lot of positive feeling within to reach out and do more or do better. But even if you wish to give negative feedback, as we will come along to that, there are ways and methods to manage that also, right? I'll just walk you through this and tell us, okay, Tasi, when we talk about feedback, we say, why is it important? I think, Dr. Kuldeep, you can give us a few more extra minutes at the end of the session.
Sure, sir. All the discussions, Q&A, everything can be taken as you wish, sir, towards the end.
Thank you. So it will take a little more time. Let's go ahead. See, why is feedback important? Actually, it helps us to understand our strengths and our weaknesses or our drawbacks. If you don't get feedback, then there is something missing, right? It distinguishes between our perception of ourselves and the perception that others have of us. That's what gets lost if you do not get feedback. We perceive ourselves to be something, but actually we are not that. So feedback is so important vis-a-vis our work and our behavior. Both, they go hand in hand. Hence, we must request for feedback if we are not getting the feedback that we should be getting. So don't stop yourself from requesting for feedback from your seniors, from your colleagues, and even from your loved ones at home. They may be the first line who can give you a very critical feedback about you because they have nothing to lose. They have the good things for you in their hearts. But when you are at the workplace, your seniors would like you to excel. Is they have nothing to lose also. They have all the more to gain if you do well. Now the other third part comes is your colleagues. If your colleagues give you feedback, you need to rationalize. You need to understand if this feedback is right or is this feedback actually meant to antagonize me or to lead you on the wrong path. So you have to be very careful in your workplace how you take feedback, but do not create barriers. Take feedback with an open mind. When you take feedback with an open mind, there are no biases. There's no right or wrong. The moment this thing clicks, you are able to understand yourself better. Even your colleagues who may be your competitors also will give you certain feedback which nobody else may give you. You work on that, you get over that, and sure you will go a step ahead in your life. And how the feedback influences your behavior. This is very important. We exhibit certain behaviors at different places. At home, you're a parent, you're a brother, you're a father, you're a sister, you're a mother, or whatever. So you exhibit different behaviors. But when you come to the workplace, you're a colleague, you're a friend, you're a senior, and you're a junior or whatever. You have a certain role to play. Accordingly, what happens is the feedback that you receive will be in accordance to the behavior that you exhibit. Right? It helps you to improve performance at your workplace by increasing confidence and competence. See, as we moved on these 4 stages, now last that we had just talked about the behavior in different stages of your life. Okay. Now, how does this help us? Actually, it helps us to improve our performance. So the moment somebody, loved one of yours at home gives you, say, look, you should have spoken like this. You should have said like this, or you could have done this like this. Then you start thinking, why is it that my father, my wife, my brother, or somebody at home has said this to me, whereas nobody at my workplace ever brings up this. At the workplace, you may be a senior and the junior may be in awe of you and does not feel very comfortable in passing this information to you. But when you come back home and discuss it at home, maybe you get the right sort of feedback. So be open to it. Similarly, at the workplace, if a person is in awe of you, but then you need to remove that barrier. If you remove that barrier, a person will feel very comfortable in coming up to you and saying, sir, this is how we could have. The way you have told us is very good, but we could have done it in an alternative way. See, that's a feedback to you. It helps you to improve. Maybe you were not right in the first place, but he has put it in a very positive manner. But there could be people who could come up to you and in a very rough tone say, look, this is not the right way that you're trying to do things. I think what I'm trying to tell you is the right way. See, there could be positive and there could be negative. There are both ways that exist in an organization. It all impacts your performance, right? Now see, when you assess yourself, you always say, am I perfect? Or am I not perfect? Or is there something lagging for which I need to take feedback, or for which I need to take inputs from my seniors or from my juniors, or need I to go and talk to my HR or to my plant head, right? Yes, Ayushi, you wanted to say something? Right. Then when you have to give feedback, then you also sometimes say, I don't have time. When you want to take feedback, you say, okay, I'll wait. Please wait. I'll come and talk to you tomorrow. Or let's discuss it a day or two from now. See, gentlemen, if you prolong, you tend to forget. If you forget, what happens is the essence is lost. The person who wants to give you feedback forgets the issue. Then if you have to give feedback and if you prolong it, you forget. So both ways, we lose some information. We lose a certain important aspect of whatever need to be conveyed to the person concerned. So whenever you want to give feedback, it needs to be timely, it needs to be specific, and it needs to be relevant. So don't postpone giving feedback. Seek out a time, seek out a place which way you will be comfortable. You can call the person to your office, or you can walk down to his office and have a talk. Your behavior matters there. How you come across to the person. We will develop on that in a little while. Okay. Sometimes what happens, we always say, I will not give feedback to my seniors because they would spoil my report. But is that correct? Is our feeling justified? In a way, yes. In a way, no. If we seek feedback or we give feedback to our seniors, but then put it in a very positive note, like I said in the beginning, like, sir, what you have told us to do is absolutely correct. But I have an alternative idea which could help us save time, save money, and save on man hours. If you allow me, may I? You see how you frame the question, how you approach the situation is so important. It changes the scenario from what could have been a very negative state to what it would be now a very positive state. And I doubt if any senior would say, sorry, we don't have time for that. When the way you put positively, the senior always will say, okay, let's meet after an hour or so. Please come to my office. Let's have a talk. And in my life in an organization, I have never had this issue of my senior not allowing me to come and talk. I've spent some couple of years in the manufacturing in the first stages of my life, work life. A lot to be done and lot to be discussed. Feedback given to the seniors and feedback taken by us. Critical areas to be discussed. So it is always a win-win situation. When you give good feedback, it's good for the boss to project to the higher ups. And everybody wins because you save on every which way you take the work forward. And when you receive feedback and you act upon it, then the work goes on the way it should. You see, the boss gains, you too gain. Because there will be no turmoil at the workplace, no agitation. sometimes we feel that everybody at orientation is given the right inputs. So why should I care? Why should I worry about the others? Why should I bother about giving feedback? Why should I worry about taking feedback? If the person is not competent, let him be thrown out. But that's not the right way. A person comes to an organization with high hopes. He is selected after due course, a number of interviews. The selection process is very arduous. It takes time. A lot of man hours are consumed to select a single person. Now, it is our duty to ensure that the person survives, is given the right inputs, given the right feedback, do his job the way it should be done. But if we refrain from our duty in giving the right inputs to the person, then the person leaves. He will find a new place. Please note, in today's world, the right person does not have any dearth for good work. So keeping the right people motivated, one, properly engaged, two, and channelized, and his energy is channelized. Yes, Dev?
Good
Dev?
afternoon, sir.
Yes, you had something to say? 1 second. Huh? So when you have everything channelized, we get this person who would be doing his work the way it is desired. Okay. Yes, Dev, you had something to say?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, please carry on.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Sir, like sometimes we want to give feedback to others, like our faculties, seniors, or any other, and it's always full of not only answers, but have a questions as well. But other security, other are like our opposite person always ignore us. Like they think that we have some personal fight with that person. But I think they should not be included in that case. So what will we do in that case?
Okay. Now, I'll just take a second and answer this question. See, what happens if you have a fight, or if you have a quarrel, or if you have some issues within amongst your colleagues, or whatever, it should not be taken personal at that moment, but there has to be certain counseling that needs to be done. Okay, when you do counseling, we take into consideration whatever happened. We need to understand whatever went wrong, why this conflict of interest took place in the first place, why you feel that you are ignored. Okay, once done, then we would definitely like to spell out what is the best way forward for both the parties. It is not one person alone. You cannot clap with one single hand. You need two to clap, right? So what happens is sometimes we do feel we are ignored, but then are we really sure we are ignored? Sometimes we do feel that we have a difficult relationship with the other person. But why is it that we are having that difficult relationship with the other person? If we are having a difficult relationship with the other person, we must first understand why is it happening. And has somebody given us this feedback that because of certain behaviors from my side or from your side has created this problem? Once we understand this, it becomes very easy for us to streamline the whole thing. It is very easy for us to get over the hurdles. Once we get over that hurdle, the person who till yesterday had some problem with you, becomes your friend. This is very important. That's why we call interpersonal relationship is so important today. I'm going off track from the feedback, but it is so important. Interpersonal relationship is a must. How you create relationship with your people, how you generate love, affection, and that feeling of bonding, that is so important. Maybe, I'm not saying it's there. Maybe some phases could have been missed. Yes, Dev?
So I totally agree with your answer. But I have one more question.
Okay.
Like you said, there are personal conflicts. That's why they are ignoring you. That thing. But I think, in my point of view, we always do right thing for them, and we always give our best out of best for themselves. But again, they are ignoring us. Like they have they have some uh, queries like, I'm not liking this person, they have not good looking, these kinds of things.
See, I'll tell you, Dev. See, these certain aspects of life, what happens is we feel, I'm not saying it's there, we feel that we are being ignored. Maybe sometimes we feel we are not good looking, hence we are not being talked to. We feel, okay, when you feel, Tushar, 1 second. When you feel, and I'm not taking any more questions this time. Tushar and Dev, we feel, you have to get over that feeling. Okay, it is best to understand and then move forward. If we continuously live in that world where we feel that we are not being liked, in the world where we are feeling that we are being ignored, we must actually understand why is it so. And if there are some underlying issues, please take it up with the relevant authorities. If not, if we are there, we definitely there as counselors, we can always discuss it with you. Okay, not an issue. Yes, I think you had something to say, sir. So we need to understand, we have to cross those belief patterns. Okay. So when you're taking feedback, don't get stuck with certain behaviors of anybody. When you're giving feedback, please clear your mind of any negative that you may have in your mind. When you are giving feedback, it has to be very constructive. It has to be very specific, and it has to be done in the right manner. If you do not do it in the right manner, the person will feel antagonized. He will feel the pain, which we are trying to avoid. You want to say something and put it across very strongly. Yes, please do. But please do it in the right manner. That's so important. But I would like all of you to note a few points before we move ahead now. I have requested Dr. Kuldeep to give us a few more minutes. Right? Please, you can take down a few notes. Okay, I'll just dictate it, and please do take down these notes. It's so important for you. Okay, the 3 feedback laws that you need to keep in mind at all times. Right? 1, when you say don'ts and the do's. Okay, what are the don'ts in a feedback process, and what are the do's in a feedback process? This is so important. Okay, just see. Don't focus on the person. That's what I just said. Remove all those negative beliefs, negative thoughts, remove them. Don't just focus on the person. Focus on the behavior of the person. Okay, what happened? You don't care how many colleagues you have upset. Means you are actually talking about a person. Then what happened? What is actually your tone of voice sounded harsh as you talk to Michael. See, that's the behavior. So how you actually come out in a group, in a personal setting, or in a professional setting, is very, very important. These things make or break a relationship. These things make or break you at work. These things actually help you to rise or to fall. So please make a note of this, how you actually come across in your daily lives. Don't focus on generalities. Don't be so general. Don't just focus on what is general. Like the technical inputs you provided were helpful in filing the patent. Means you are just worrying about the patent that you have filed. But actually what? Focus on the specifics. What are those key points that actually eventually helped you to file the patent? See, your technical inputs were very helpful in identifying what are the exact requirements for the new patent. So you are actually being very specific. Beyond this, you could list out one or two of those specifics and say, these are the key points which actually helped us in filing the patent. So be very specific, okay? Then don't focus on qualitative judgments. Don't be judgmental in your approach, okay? Your performance gets better every month. But what is so good, what is so big about that? A person always tends to do better than what he did yesterday. But then what you should actually be doing is focus on the quantitative details at that point. Qualitative is just does not give you everything. What is quantitative? You always need to measure something, right? You need to measure what the performance of a person is, right? Your output rate last month was 10%. That's 5% higher than the departmental average. Keep it up. Means you have done exceedingly well as compared to the whole department. You're getting a very specific feedback. You're getting very qualitative feedback, just not the qualitative aspect. You've done a great job. That's just qualitative. But when you say you did 5% extra as compared to the department, you're getting a quantitative aspect. What happens then? It brings you to a frame when you feel happy within, you feel motivated, and you feel more energetic, and you feel better, and you do a good job. Right. So, effective feedback. We're coming to constructive. That's a pretty long thing. This is the making the what you call creating the ground now. Okay. Effective feedback now. Be specific. Tell people what they have accomplished or did not accomplish in precise, measurable terms. Comparing specific data to targets shows if people are on target or if they need to make adjustments. See, you need to adjust sales. Like, I don't know how many of you have done boating. What happens? You need to adjust sales according to the wind. So similarly in business also, if you have got a goal, while moving along the track, some hurdles come in, you need to change track. But you need to keep the goal in focus. So you need to provide the person a specific feedback as to what is going right and what is going wrong. And where is it that he or she needs to make a course correction? Please note this. This feedback is so important. He or she needs to make a course correction to be able to achieve that goal. Else he or she will not be able to achieve that goal. And we will be left midstream. Okay. Timely. I said this earlier also. You need to give the feedback timely. So important. See, timely positive feedback strongly reinforces positive actions and results. Okay. Timely development feedback provides suggestions soon enough for people to adjust and enhance their performance. This is very, very important. So when you give feedback timely, you can make a course correction in time rather than wait for the end of the year. This is what happens, what I've seen in industry. People sometimes wait for a mid-year review or an annual review, but it's too late. If you are going to give all the feedback in the mid-year review and the annual review, means you have already lost a lot in the time that has passed. Feedback needs to be given in time. It has to be like yesterday. If the thing happened today, before the day is out, the feedback must be given to the person concerned. So when he comes to the work tomorrow, he does not do the same mistake. If we wait till the end of the year, we have already lost crores of rupees vis-a-vis profits. That is never acceptable in an organization. Even in our own lives, if we act upon the feedback that we receive from the environment, from the family, from our seniors, and from people in the community, I'm sure we'll do much better than we are doing today. It's so important. You must have a sounding board. Then the feedback needs to be balanced. Right? Feedback that focuses only on what a person needs to do better or more, but fails to acknowledge what's been done will damage the self-esteem of a person. So don't just focus on one little thing. It has to be balanced in every way, in every which manner, which way possible. Okay? Feedback from managers who comment only on strong performance is equally ineffective. They are missing opportunities to help people become more successful. So when you're just dwelling upon the success, you're not talking about the failures. You're not talking about what could have been done. Then what is it? You have already lost 75% of what you could have actually done. You're just living with 25%. 25% is not sufficient for an organization to grow. So please keep this in mind. Right? Another thing that I would like to bring to you is the feedback using the star. One is situation and task, action that you need to take, and the result that you will derive. Right? When we talk about situation and task, keep this in mind. But giving a feedback, understand every feedback relates to a situation or a task. If there is no situation, no task, what feedback do we need to actually give to a person? Right? See, what was the problem? Business opportunity, challenges, or tasks? This comes under your situation and tasks. Right? So when you're giving a feedback, keep that in mind. Does this address any situation, any task that a person may have or was supposed to perform? If not, don't just make talk just because you want to talk. Don't just start giving feedback just because you want to say something to a person. Only when you have to say it is relevant, then say. Wait for your time. It will come. When the person needs to be given feedback, you must give. If he needs to be given encouragement, do take out the finer points of the person, the positives, and give that encouragement. That is another thing. Okay. Then the action. What was said or done to handle the situation or task? For developmental feedback, what did a person or team say or do was ineffective? So look at those areas where a person could have done better. Where was it that the person was ineffective? And understand one thing, before you give that feedback, keep this in mind. Why did the person carry out the work in an ineffective manner? Once you are equipped with that feedback, then you can talk to the person and make him understand that, gentlemen, everything done well. But I think something we could have done better in this area. Can you just elaborate? Did you put the ball in his court, the person will come out. He or she will elaborate. Maybe he or she has a different viewpoint. Respect it and then take the discussion forward. If you approach it positively, the person also approaches it positively, you can do wonders. Then the result part. What changed for better or for worse? The result could either be a great one, a mediocre one, or it could be a no result at all. All three stages matter. If a person has done exceedingly well, like in the first instance when we said a person does 5% more than the departmental average, there could be something which he employed or something which he followed that he would. Mr. Warren, you wanted to say something?
No, sir.
Okay.
Nothing from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, so when we're looking at the three stages, when even there are no results, when there are mediocre results, when there are great results, all these three needs to be analyzed. Champa, I'll take your question later. See what happens. A person does exceedingly well. Why? Why is it that we always say just because a person has done exceedingly well, it's great? But we don't worry about taking feedback for that. We don't worry about giving feedback for that. It's not right. That's like I just said, we should not wait till the end of the year. So when a person does exceedingly well, understand why he did exceedingly well and why those parameters cannot be adopted by somebody else. If the whole team gets to know about how this person X did very well or exceedingly well, I'm sure the whole department stands to benefit. So the feedback on this front is also very important. You can seek feedback. You can seek feedback from the person. You can seek inputs from the person. It's so important. Okay. Let's see what happens when we go on this front. When we are trying to give professional feedback or performance feedback, there are some things which we need to dwell upon. And those points I'll highlight to you right now. See, whenever you do performance feedback, whenever you give performance feedback or you seek performance feedback, understand one thing. Review the appraisee's background, education, training, and experience as a senior. The question would come to your mind, why so? My boss knows me very well. Agreed, your boss knows you very well, but the boss does not know your background. The boss does not know how many qualifications you have. Your boss does not know how much pain you may have taken to acquire new additional skills. Your boss may not be aware of many things. Hence, we always say, please try to understand your people better. Please try to look at whatever the person may have acquired. Hence, we say, have a regular dialogue. Hence, we always say during performance feedback, we always say, please have a regular dialogue during the year. Okay. Review the appraisee's past jobs and performances. This is so important. A person may have come from a company X. He may not have performed very well in that organization, but he may be doing very well over here. How does this two match? What is it that our environment, work environment, has provided to this person to do exceedingly well? It helps us to know that. Once known, we are in a better frame to have a dialogue with the person concerned with respect to his performance, right? Determine the strengths and developmental needs to be discussed with the appraisee. First, you do your own homework. Come with whatever you need to discuss with the appraisee. Jot down the relevant points, right? For each area of improvement you plan to discuss with the appraisee, be prepared with alternative development plans. So do not push your views alone. Please understand, feedback is not trying to make a person eat biryani when he is more interested in eating chapati. It's not trying to force a person to take what he does not like. But sometimes, for the sake of the organization, we need to tell the employee, gentlemen, you need to take this bitter pill for in the benefit of the organization. You may not like this job, but yes, you are the only person I have who can do this work exceedingly well. See how you need to motivate that person, and then you must tell him his strengths as to why we are selecting that person. This performance appraisals are so important when we want to put a person in, increase the job role, enhance his what you call job, in the what you call like when we say we want to enhance his job role. Next, we want to give him a larger span of control. He may not be promoted, but yet he has more powers now. How you give that feedback to that person is so important. Plus, you are not able to promote him. And why? People will feel antagonized. One, people will feel vindictive. Two, third, a person may feel, yeah, I'm going to leave the organization. It does not value good people. But then you must, in a way, give certain feedback to him, positive, and some part where he could have improved, and so on and so forth. Yes, we need the person, we increase everything. So you see how feedback matters in an organizational setup, in a performance setup, how you can retain employees. We say people leave the organization, but we try not to allow them to leave. That feedback is so important. That's what Dr. Kuldeep also had mentioned at the beginning. Feedback is actually the lifeblood of an organization. Please note, feedback is the lifeblood of an organization. You cannot do without feedback. The day you stop giving feedback or taking feedback, the organization will die. And many good organizations have actually died because the top man stopped taking feedback from his people. He wished to run the show on his own. So whatever I say is gospel truth. You people, whatever you say has no meaning. So feedback actually can make or break an organization. Please note this. Okay. Identify areas that need attention during the next review period. So you see 6 months or through, you can have it a quarterly review. So next review, what are those points that you would like to review in the next quarter? All those points need to be noted. And it should not happen that you do not have a dialogue with this person in the next 3 months. You should not stop there. You should actually keep this communication channel open. Allow the person to come and discuss. And whenever possible, go to the person and give him give him the feedback or give him inputs. Feedback is one side. Giving him inputs vis-a-vis his work is another thing. So that this person can bloom. That is the primary motive of any organization, to see its employees excelling. Because if employees excel, the organization automatically excels. Right? I'm cutting out some points here. Don't just focus on examples of substandard performance. If you focus only on substandard performance, what happens? The person will say, this person invited me for this dialogue to tell me about my bad points only, or tell me about where I am not, tell me about my weaknesses only. Has he nothing to say about the work I have done during the year? Has he nothing to say about the areas where I have excelled? Has he nothing to say about how I have groomed my people to do great work? What happened? Then you start creating a barrier. Please note, do not only talk about substandard performance. Right? talk about strong points first, interspacing the discussion with areas that need improvement. Yes, strong points are there, but then you could say we could have done better. And this is an area which I feel that you could improve upon. And these are the developmental needs which I have identified. May I have your views? You see, you are giving a chance to the person who is being interviewed as an appraisee to share his views with you. The moment you give some space or a chance to the person to speak, he will come out very positive. He may not like a couple of your points and he will speak up for that. And for the rest, he will say, yes, these are the areas which I must improve. You see what happens, then you click. That's very important. Right? Whenever possible, cite specific observation that you have made. Please note, whenever you are going in for a performance feedback, keep your notes handy. Please make the positives and areas, don't say negative. Please note, never ever say negative. Negative points are not to be said as negative points. Please say these are areas of improvement. The moment you say negative, the person creates a barrier. And the moment you say, gentlemen, everything fine and done, we have some areas for improvement. This is how we can actually take this forward. Your views. You see, the whole scenario changes. It becomes very positive. The atmosphere becomes charged. You feel nice that my colleague is responding. Usually what happens, people don't respond. And then you feel antagonized. Here you need to understand, you need to make the person respond. You need his views. And this is the only way to make him give his views. When you say, these are a couple of areas of improvement that we have identified, may I have your views? You see, he will give you views, whether yes or no, right or wrong, and he will justify that. Right? Then, when you want to give feedback, and feedback is effective if it is descriptive and not evaluative. Don't be judgmental. Don't be evaluative. Don't try to seek the wrong points. Don't try to seek negatives. Seek positives. Seek out where a person can improve. Seek out where the person has done great work. Seek out where the person has actually helped his juniors to grow. You see, your growth is directly proportional to the growth of your people below you. So seek out those areas. When you seek out the positives, and then when you say, don't say, like I earlier just said, don't say negative, just say an area. That way what happens, you create a warm environment. You create a warm bonding. You break it so strong that you are able to do 10x, I tell you, or whatever you're doing today. Okay? Feedback is effective if it is focused on the behavior of the person, not the person instead. We have already gone through that. Okay, is continuous, is mostly personal, giving data from one's own experience. I can give you feedback from my experience. But then I could also collect information from your colleagues or from your superiors or from your juniors. Today we talk about 360-degree appraisal. So we collect information from around people who are associated with you. But then it is our discretion how we wish to put that feedback to you. Because if we put it the way everybody has just spelled out, there could be people who are not at good terms with you, who could give you a very negative feedback. Then you need to understand why this negative feedback when 90% is right feedback. Please do not be very judgmental. Don't take everything as face value. You must understand why this feedback given by somebody. Once analyzed, you will understand that this happened because of X, Y, Z reasons. Keep that aside, take the other things forward, then discuss this with him separately. Once you discuss it separately, he will understand it and respect you for that. And then he'll try to get out of that muddle. And when he gets out of that muddle, it will be very easy for him to relate to things in a very positive manner and move forward and try to deliver 100+%. And it is possible. Having been responsible for talent management and competency maps, I have seen people grow after understanding their own flaws and shortcomings. But then everything was done in a very positive atmosphere, in a very positive manner. We never said negative. Because nobody comes perfect. Even our 5 fingers are not equal. So whenever you're talking to a person, whenever you're giving feedback, everybody is an individual. Everybody is different from the other. How you behave with one cannot be done with the second person. He has a different personality altogether and needs to be discussed differently. This helps him in a very big way. It is always a very, very personal interview, a very, very personal discussion, right? And now receiving feedback effectively. Own up responsibility. First important thing is owning up responsibility for whatever you have done. Not for what somebody else has done, but catch. The person who reports to you happens to be your responsibility. You cannot say, Mr. Y did not do this. This thing happened because he did not do this. This thing happened because she did not do this. This thing happened because X, Y, Z did not do this. No way. If these people are your reports, it's your responsibility to have seen that they had done it. So own that responsibility first. The moment you own that responsibility, you must be in a frame wherein you could provide inputs as to why they did not perform, why the targets were not met, what were those hurdles that you faced during your operational processes, or whatever you're doing in life. This is so important. Once understood, it makes things easy. So in the next review cycle, all these things are removed. And once they are removed, you move ahead full steam, right? Conduct a self-analysis as to why such behavior was shown. Why did that person behave like that? Would he have behaved differently, or was my approach wrong? Or is it the way he behaves with everybody in the similar manner? First, do your homework on that and then come to it. Please, again, do not form biases. Do not form what you call your own blocks, right? Be empathetic. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and think, why did the person do this? Sometimes you could be in a frame where you say, is it my duty to think where the person is and why is he behaving like this? But yes, it is. But yes, it is. It is my responsibility. I am accountable. I must see that my people are doing their work well. If they are not doing, means sometimes I must have not given the feedback to them in the right time. I may not have been very specific about the feedback that I have given to them. So be very careful. Okay. Try to understand the point of view of the other person. That's so important. first seek to understand, then be understood. This, okay. Stephen Covey's famous words, first seek to understand, then be understood. Once you have sought to understand, it lightens your heart. It lightens your heart. It gives you a lot more room for maneuvering in the situation. And after you have sought to understand, then you seek to be understood. First, understand the person, and later he will also give you due respect and understand you for whatever you are, for whatever you wish to do good for him. Okay. Take help of others in the organization in knowing more about the feedback which has been given to you. But there is a catch over here. You may wish to discuss with X, Y, and Z, but please be careful how you actually approach the situation. It is best discussed with your seniors. And in a very subtle manner, you can discuss it with your colleagues. But do not give away yourself. If you give away yourself, there could be some people, I'm not saying there are people, there could be some people who may take advantage of the situation. So be guarded when you are discussing with your colleagues. But when you are discussing with your senior, then you can be a little more open and seek information, seek inputs, seek way forward as to how you could have done better. And I'm sure there is no senior who would not say, yes, I'm willing to help you and guide you. That's why we always have mentors in the organizations. We attach people to those mentors, and then those are the people who handhold them in tight situations, who help them move forward. Collect more information and data to understand the behavior of a person. Seek the person's help in understanding the feedback, right? Show concern for improvement. Show concern for improvement. It's so important. If you show concern for improvement, then you will actually design a schedule for the person to have a conversation with you at least twice a week. This way, what happens? You remove hurdles one by one, and the person can move forward. Listen carefully and patiently. Most important thing in an appraisal system is a person should understand, if he wishes to understand, is to listen. And when you listen, you see, you understand better. If you do not listen, you create barriers. You actually distort the whole communication process because of your interruption time and again. Okay. Cultivate a positive and critical attitude to accept as well as question feedback. You can accept, but then you need to question also, as and when required. Not just because you want to make your presence felt. Please understand your presence is important, but it has a place. Do not make your presence felt. Just listen. Once you have listened to whatever feedback you have received, then you question the feedback, like I said in the very beginning, in a very positive manner. When you question the feedback very positively, you get back the answers, or inputs to your questioning in a very positive manner. But if you are if you go against the grain, what happens? The person also stands his ground and says, gentlemen, whatever I have told you is final. Then what happens? You are both at loggerheads. That's not right. Okay? That's not right. You should not be at loggerheads. As colleagues, you should be one. When you are one, nothing can stop him. Right? Very important thing that I would not like to go away with before I share this with you is trick. TRIC. Okay. T means tell. Tell the specific behavior that you would like to have changed. When you are talking to a person, when you are discussing with a person, understand one thing. What are the behaviors that you would like your person to change so that he or she becomes a better person? So you must tell the person the specifics of the behavior that you would like to have changed. And it is possible to change the behavior. It takes time, but gradually with positive strokes, it can get changed. That's why just a moment before I say you must schedule at least 2 conversations a week so that the person can be provided feedback timely and also his developmental needs can also be taken care of, right? Then recognize what you are feeling about the situation or behavior. Understand that and highlight it also to the person concerned. Identify the replacement behavior that you would like to see. You must also give a hint as to how that person can change and what is the behavioral change that you would like to see in the person. That hint you must provide to the person so that at least he will get some hint as to where and how he can improve upon that. Okay, confirm, understanding, and end on a positive. Once you have confirmed, when you have agreed upon, then you end on a very positive note, right? The example, okay? When you interrupt me during a meeting, now that's a behavioral issue. A person interrupts you during a meeting, just, okay, what happens? You get irritated, right? I get frustrated because it breaks my train of thought, right? Then what I would like to see happen is that you wait and add your comments until after I have finished my speaking. So important. Just wait. Allow the person to complete what he wants to say. After he has completed, you have made your notes. Please understand when the other person is speaking, please do make notes. Right? And then you can question that person. Right? Then confirm and end. Okay? I think you have great ideas. See, positive note. You are already speaking about his great ideas, whatever he brings to the table, whatever he has done at his workplace, which has actually helped the whole organization. I think you have great ideas to contribute, and I believe the quality of our meetings will improve as a result of not trying to talk over each other. If we allow each other space, it makes more sense. It becomes more positive, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Quick questions. Yeah, in case anybody has any questions. Dr. Varun, you seem to have a question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Varun has a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, my question is that sometimes feedback is taken in a negative way. Like some are good performers, some are middle performers, some are low performers. But there are some occasions when people feel that they have done very well, but their feedback is not given in an appropriate way. So how to console, how to create a normal environment in that case, sir?
Okay, if you look at the last few lines that I have spoken, last 10, 15 minutes, when we say we leave the person aside,
Yes, sir.
we don't dwell upon the person.
Mm.
We dwell upon certain behaviors,
Yes.
certain attitudinal traits, and the specifics related to whatever he has performed at the workplace.
Yes, sir.
Right? When we have this in our hand, we have everything jotted down. Even discreetly, we can collect feedback.
Mm.
But before we put it forward, we need to understand whether they are correct or not.
And sir, we believe that peer
Yes,
feedback.
I'm coming to your points.
Yeah.
Excuse
Okay.
me. Okay. Once we have this thing in our hand, now we'll come to the person. Why he feels it's negative. Why he feels he has performed better and you are not giving him the right rating. Why he feels so. Now this, when you are actually in the appraisal process, you're doing a performance review. What I have said, I have emphasized upon, put it across in a positive manner, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Both need to move in a positive frame. The moment you make it move in a positive frame, what happens? This person get dismantled. Question is not of dismantling him inside. Question is dismantling the hurdles that are between him and you.
Yes.
Once we dismantle those hurdles, the person comes across to you and says, sir, I think whatever you have said is okay, but I would like to give my views. Then you ask him for his or her views. The moment you start doing this, asking the person for his or her views, things start moving. Then the person will say, no, Varun sir said right. I think I must improve. And sir, and like he or she could say, Varun sir, can we schedule some more meetings amongst us, between the two of us, wherein I can take inputs from you? You see what happens. You either he can place it forward to him, or he or she can do the same. And then you get my point, no? It will eliminate.
It will eliminate the barrier that has been created, and everything will move smoothly.
Absolutely, you need to dismantle the barriers.
Yes, yes, great answers. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much.